Hi everyone, Amber here with Yoga How To. And today we will be talking about 4 tips to help you to really develop and integrate and make effective your Sankalpa practice. If you're wondering what is a Sankalpa, please check out the first video in the series. And if you want to really measure it up against how Western affirmations are sometimes used, you can check that out in the second video. Of course, you can do your Sankalpa practice anytime. It's often repeated silently 3 times, but do whatever you need to do. Bellow it out, sing it like an opera, if that helps you to elicit a different state within yourself, within the chitta, the mind stuff. That's what's key here. Let's get into our 4 tips to take it to an even deeper level for you. Tip number 1 is to use it when you're either going into a state where the brainwaves slow down or when you're coming out of a more slowed down state. So great times for this are before bed and upon waking first thing in the morning. Also, don't forget to weave it into your yoga practice. Before and after can be especially impactful. Remember that your yoga practice is going to really charge up any thought that you have, any vritti, any movement of the mind during the practice. So if you're on your mat thinking about how that person next to you can do a handstand and you can't even put pressure on your wrist, or how they look in their yoga pants and how you do, those are the thoughts you're supercharging. Instead, strengthen your resolve, your Sankalpa during your practice, and then after, let it sink in a little deeper. Consider something that you do every day without thinking about it, whether it's brushing your teeth, washing dishes, sitting in the car waiting at the stoplight, whatever that is. Find a way to, when you're doing that thing, remember to do the Sankalpa practice with it. Put a sticky note on your toothbrush, do something so that you start to get that habit, and that every time then you're doing the thing, you go, oh yeah, it's time for Sankalpa practice. What's important here is that while you're doing the activity fairly mindlessly, you're probably not putting a lot of thought into washing the dishes. You still need to get that feeling, that felt sense of expansion of a greater state while doing the Sankalpa practice. Remember, we don't want to just flatly say the words. So even though the one thing is a habit that's not a lot of thought is going into it, the Sankalpa still needs to have that charge of higher frequency emotion with it. The real power of Sankalpa is that it can help us to, instead of being reactive when we're caught in a moment that normally would sweep us away with vritti activity, instead we can slow the mind down enough to start to choose to respond. And that's pretty powerful right there. It's hard to do though. That's really hard to do. But what can help us is to practice it in advance. So consider those situations which tend to just get you swept away before you know it, whether it's maybe you're an angry driver, or maybe it's your sister always talking down to you. Whatever the thing is, take some time, imagine that situation. And this is a practice, so you'll get quiet. You're going to do it when you're not already triggered or charged up, when you're fairly calm. You imagine that situation and you just start to get to the edge of the vritti, just the whisper of it, where before it sweeps you away, where do you start to notice it? Is there a thought with it? Is it a sensation in the body? And usually it is. Is that sensation, where is it located? Does it have a texture? Does it have a color? Does it have a pulse? What is that sensation doing? So then, when you felt it, you will apply the concept of Pratipaksha Bhavana, which we talked about way back in the first video. But this is all Sankalpa work is it's taking the vritti that's going this way and it's putting a more helpful one, the opposite one, in front of it. And the thing with Sankalpa, you don't have to work out what's the opposite, because it's going to naturally be better than what the other vritti is anyway. Whether your Sankalpa brings about joy, you don't have to worry about if that's the opposite of road rage. You just put the Sankalpa there, and it will, if you can really connect to it, it will do the work for you. So you'll practice that and get elastic with it. Go back and forth. Get just a little bit into that state of agitation or hurt feelings or whatever the thing is. When you get that sensation starting to come up, then do the Sankalpa. Move the vritti in the other direction. Feel it for a while, then let it go. Go back to the painful one and change it. And do this a few times so that you can teach your mind to be pliable, but also so that you are teaching yourself, when I start to feel this way, instead of just going down with this, instead, I'm going to do this. So you actually start to build different neural pathways in the brain, a different response system than the one you already have. And use your imagination. This is a vritti, a movement of the mind that we can use to be helpful rather than just painful or harmful. If you use that imagination to get to where you see yourself walking to your sister's and she starts to say something derogatory to you, and then you say your Sankalpa, again, use your imagination in a helpful way. Use that vritti in a helpful way to get to a better state. That might mean imagining your grandmother smiling at you when you were a child, or imagining your dog running to you when you call her name. Whatever that is that just stokes that inner fire, if that helps you get there, do that. That's okay to do. So a bonus tip to go with tip 3, I guess you could say, is something we were talking about in teacher training the other day. And one of the students talked about how you could, with your practice, leave Easter eggs for yourself in the future. So like they have in video games, you can plant things that will trigger your mind to remember when you go into that tough situation at your sister's. Maybe it's seeing her dog. Maybe the second you see her dog, you always remember, oh, say, get into that Sankalpa state now. So you can start to get into it even before she says the thing she always says that hurts your feelings or makes you feel small, right? So you have that Sankalpa propped up and ready to go, ready to spring into action because you saw the dog and the dog reminded you, and you've told yourself that this is what you do. And you can even bring that into that practice ahead of time, is seeing the dog in your imagination, remembering to remember the Sankalpa, right? That vritti of that remembrance. And then hearing your sister say these things, seeing the look on her face, noticing where it's at in your body, feeling that, and then saying the Sankalpa to stop it and to change what you're feeling. The 4th tip is to actually make a plan. Just like you look at your calendar and you decide when you're going to go to yoga class, when you're going to meet your friends for coffee. If you don't plan it, if you just trust on knowing when you're going to need it or improvisation, it's not going to happen. So to really commit to it, write it down. How are you going to habit stack your Sankalpa? How are you going to remember to habit stack? For a long time, when I was first doing this, I kept a sticky note on my phone at night. So when my alarm went off in the morning, I would feel it when I was turning off the alarm. The sticky note said nothing, but I knew when I felt it, oh yeah, Sankalpa practice. So that would help me to use it during that first time of day to just really imbue my whole day with more meaning and purpose. Plan it out, write it down, spend a week or 2 really committed to it. Journal, how'd it go today? Did I practice my Sankalpa? Did I not? Did I forget? Did I get swept away with the vrittis? And it's okay too. That's where we get to, again, practice Sankalpa instead of beating ourselves up, granting ourselves grace and allowing ourselves to change instead of being the victim to our own behavior. Thank you so much for being here today, everyone. I appreciate you. I know Austin does too, and so do Violet and Ladybug. If you found something useful in this today, will you please take a second and click like or comment or share? And always, we want you to subscribe because we want to keep our connection with you and keep sharing this material. let us know too in comments. What would you like to know more about? What kind of questions do you have about yoga and how to apply it in life that you've just never quite figured out or learned about yet? I also want to mention I am doing a workshop in April and early May. It's once a week for 4 weeks, starting April 23rd, I think. And it will be on all of this stuff. Hatipaksha Bhavana, understanding Swadharma, Swabhava, which is an idea of who we are as individuals, and of course Sankalpa. So there will be more exercises. We'll implement techniques. We'll use discussion. And yeah, if you're liking this stuff, I hope you'll join us. Thank you again. Have a great day.